Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. Tamara here. I just wanted to do a quick follow-up video to the Boardwalk on the Beach pattern that I recently put out and show you construction of the actual romper. You'll see from the video that the construction of the bodice is exactly the same throughout, and when you get to adding that lower portion, you have that choice between the full line skirt or the lined shorts. So I really have been appreciating all the beautiful pictures I've seen of what people have made with this pattern so far, and I just wanted to make it a little bit easier for those that are just getting used to sewing or needing a little bit more assistance to see how to attach those shorts. So let's go ahead and get started. So when you're working with the Boardwalk at the Beach pattern, you're going to do the construction of the bustier portion of the dress or the romper exactly the same way. So because I already have the dress video out, I just wanted to take it from the actual edition of the shorts to give people an opportunity to see how to construct that in case they're working with that and have any questions. So as you can see from the pieces that I've already completed, I've made it all the way through the complete construction, and now I'm ready to decide what I'm going to put on the bottom. I have done a lot more top stitching with this design than I showed with the dress, and that's really a personal preference, and you can add as much detail to this pattern as you desire. So from there, we're going to set the bustier pieces aside, and we're going to work with the actual shorts. I am going to line it, so I'm actually going to do the very first step, which is to put the darts in the front and back sections of the pants and also in the lining pieces. With the dart placement marked on all the shorts pieces, I'm just going to put a pin at where that dart's going to end. This is my preferred method of putting darts in. You may have your own method, and I encourage you to use whatever works best for you. You do want to take note on the pattern pieces that the beginning of the dart is 1/4 of an inch. So when you fold that in half, you're going to be sewing 1/8 of an inch and then down to the narrow point of the dart. I'm going to leave the strings a little bit longer, and you can tie those darts off versus back stitch for a smoother finish. You're going to repeat all of those darts in the lining pieces of the shorts as well. Once you have all the darts sewn, you're going to tie all those darts off, take it over to the ironing board, and press the darts towards the side. With the darts pressed to the side, the next step is going to be to place the front of the shorts right sides together and sew that center front seam. You're going to clip into that seam allowance, especially around that curved edge, and press that seam open. At this point, you might also decide to top stitch that center front seam as well. With that top stitching done, we're going to sew the back of the shorts to the front at the side seam. You're going to trim in towards the side seam allowance and press that open. Then you can top stitch that if you desire. At this stage, we're going to assemble the lining to the shorts in the same way. So we're going to start by, with the seam sewn, we're going to clip in towards the seam allowance, take it over to the ironing board, and give all those seams a press. All right, with the lining constructed and the exterior portion of the shorts constructed, the next step is going to be to place the lining to the shorts right sides together and sew the hem edge together. We're going to turn the shorts right side out and press the hem edge. Once you have the lining of the shorts turned to the inside and have pressed that hem edge, you have the opportunity at this point to do some top stitching along the hem. If you did that to the rest of the garment, it might add a nice detail. So I'm going to do that step next. And then moving forward with the shorts and the lining, we're going to treat it as one piece. So if it's easier for you, you can actually just run a baste stitch all the way around all the raw edges that are left on the shorts to hold the lining in place. You do that about 1/16 of an inch from the raw edge of the full garment. So here's where we are with the construction of the romper so far. After actually basting the lining of the shorts to the lining around the full exterior portion, I did one additional step of doing a zigzag stitch along both the left and right back opening of the shorts. I just think that makes a nicer finish. So from here, this is the back and this is the front, and this is our top, and it's also got the lining installed already as well. So from here, we're going to take our bodice piece and place it right sides together with the shorts assembly and pin it at the waist and then sew it in place. when you pin the bodice to the shorts, you want to make sure that you're matching those side seams, especially if you did top stitching. So just kind of look underneath as well before you actually do that final waist seam. We're just going to check to see how that looks. It's nice that the side seam is lining up with the actual top stitching. You can see how everything's looking pretty good, and the other side looks good as well. So from this step, we're going to press that waist seam up, and then we're going to actually get the lining attached at the waist by folding it over the seam and taking a needle and thread and hand stitching it in place. With the lining applied and finished off at that waist seam, the next step is to go ahead and zigzag close the right back opening of the bodice section. And then we're actually going to get a tentative fit to the doll and do the placement of the actual breast cups. All right, well, I've grabbed our Grace Marie Fitzpatrick doll, and I'm getting a quick fit to see how I like the romper so far. And as you can see, it's fitting her pretty well through the torso. You'll notice that it's coming up really close to her chest, which is exactly how you want it to look before you apply the cups. In the back, it has that crossover of 1/4 inch for application of the snaps. Now, the reason I'm choosing to do the breast cup insertion now versus having the whole romper put together is I found it a little bit easier to sew that top stitching on the breast cup if I didn't actually finish the lower portion of the shorts. We're going to go ahead and install the breast cups the same way we did on the actual dress. We're going to match the center seam of the bra cup to the actual front of the bodice, and we'll also match the side of the breast cup at each point on the actual bodice. So we're just going to slip it in, pin it in place, and then we're going to baste it in place with a really noticeable thread that can be easily removed after we get that top stitching in place. So let me grab my pins. We'll get both breast cups in place, and then we'll do the basting. So here's our fit with the pins, and I think that's going to be fine. I'm taking this bright pink thread, and I'm just going to baste that in place. I'm going to slip it off the doll first so I don't puncture her with my needle, and then we're going to actually sew it over at the sewing machine as close to that finished edge of the bodice as we can without going into the ditch. So let me get those couple of steps done, and we'll see how that actually turns out. So give that a quick check and make sure you're happy with the top stitching. You can always adjust it if you need to. It's not perfect, but I think it's actually going to be just fine. So from there, we're going to pull our basting stitches out, and then we're going to place the romper right sides together and sew that center back seam. All right, with the base stitch removed, you can see that our top stitching looks pretty good. And this is what it looks like in the inside. So it is finished and it does have that zigzag stitch around the bottom of the breast cups, and everything else is fully lined. So that works out great. We're gonna go ahead and take and fold the romper with right sides together and sew that center back seam, and then finish the shorts like you would most pants. So you're gonna come up here and stop right there. Check both sides of that seam. You're going to clip in towards the seam allowance. You're going to pull the romper with the legs together and sew the inseam. Let's get that turned right side out and see how it's coming together. So here's how it looks so far, and I think it turned out really super cute. The only thing we need to do from this step to actually finish is to apply the snaps to the back opening after we get one more fitting to the doll. And then I'm going to take the straps. Now you may have noticed on the dress that you can put just one strap because the dress can pull up and that strap can go around her neck. But since the romper doesn't let you pull it up, you're going to need to do two straps, and you're going to have them tying at the back of the neck. So let me go ahead and do those last couple of steps. Put the snaps on, put the straps on, and then we'll get the final photographs of our doll.
Wasn't this such a fun tutorial? Thank you so much, Tamara Casey, for all that you do. This Boardwalk ensemble, I know you worked extra hard on it because it had a lot of different parts and pieces, and you said it was like putting together a puzzle. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for persevering, because it's absolutely stunning, and it is going to be a staple in Grace's closet for years to come. You slayed, girlfriend. Thanks again. Bye.
So that brings us to the end of another video, and I think Grace looks fantastic. It's been so great to be part of the Club Grace collaboration, and I really enjoy coming up with new and different patterns for Club Grace each month. A really cool project that's coming up is there's going to be a new release for the Ella Wild dolls in the form of a friend named Nima. I encourage you to check out the virtual doll convention for all the latest information about her upcoming release. But even bigger and better news is there's going to be another virtual online convention. So if you haven't participated in the past, that information is also available at the virtual doll convention. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So thank you so much for coming along with me today. I will leave a link in the description below to actually the dress if you have any questions about how to sew that from the Boardwalk on the Beach pattern. As always, I thank you guys for your time. I look forward to seeing what you make. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.